I've been in the public eye for so long, and I feel like I was fractured. My whole journey really has been about reclaiming and bringing back these pieces of me into wholeness.
I would love to start off talking about your mental health journey, just because I think that's so important for what everyone's going through right now. Can you walk me through what that process has been like for you?
I guess my awareness of it and the awareness that I needed help was about 8 years ago. And I checked myself into a facility for anxiety and depression. Really, these last 8 years have been about accumulating, I guess, the right tools that work for me when I am challenged with major anxiety or, a bout of depression. I started into breath work and meditation. And I think that just started adding on top of the talk therapy that I was already experiencing. But when I really started to get into my body with breath work is when things started to really open up and shift for me.
What is one of the most transformative tools or lessons you've learned?
Anxiety is kind of like one of those low-key things that's like always in the background for me. I feel like for multiple reasons, but I started in this business so young, and it's like my nervous system kind of was like on stun, and all eyes on me and for my whole life. And I think that led to a lot of anxiety for me. And so one of the things that when I start to have a bit of an anxiety episode or attack, I'll tell myself and remind myself to allow it in. Because they always say, whatever we resist persists. It sounds challenging, especially when you're in that moment. But the reminder of feel it, let it in. I know I'm not going to die. It might feel like it, but I'm going to be able to move through this and a lot quicker if I just allow it to be there without any kind of judgment.
Everything you're talking about are things that we are conditioned to hide from other people,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're not supposed to talk about all of this stuff, but why are you making it your mission to share?
I think it's because I'm sick of hiding, and there's such power in vulnerability, and there's such power in releasing ourselves from, the cage that we live in with all of this shame. We have to live up, we think, to this one specific ideal of human, and it's just impossible. And I've been in the public eye for so long, and I feel like I was fractured. My whole journey really has been about reclaiming and bringing back these pieces of me into wholeness. And I think part of that wholeness is being able to be vulnerable and express and show like who I truly am. And it's been a long time coming, and it feels so liberating. It's like I literally am going and I'm excavating, and it feels amazing.
You are such a presence in the music industry, and at least for my generation, such an iconic figure. I think everyone, when they hear the name LeAnn Rimes, they hear you singing Blue and floating through the pool. So if you had the opportunity to talk to that 13-year-old girl who was thrust into the spotlight in what we would now call sort of a viral moment, what would you need to tell her? What would you want her to know moving forward?
I was always really connected to my instinct, and I think all children are, and I remember like in my mid-teens, I remember, being around so many people, having so many people around me, and having so many voices in my ear all the time. And I never got disconnected from my intuition, but it definitely got dampened, where I started to lose trust within my own self. And I think if I could go back and tell that little girl anything, it's to really hold on tight to that intuition, because it's right, and she knows what's right for her. And that's the most important piece to stay connected with.
So I want to hear a little bit about your upcoming project, The Human and the Holy, which I've read was said to have been sort of a lifetime in the making. So what was that process like for you? Because when I hear something is a lifetime in the making, I'm like, Jesus Christ, how do you remember stuff from like the beginning of your life?
Especially the last 8 years of my own healing. Chanting has been such a beautiful piece in my toolbox to be able to to come into my own wholeness, and in my own practice, to utilize my voice for my own healing. And, that's something I've given out to the world so freely for so long. And it's the last thing I think about to use for myself. If it wasn't for that journey, I would have never been able to create this record. I've been writing chants my whole life. I've been writing choruses, which are repetitive, but I thought, what a cool way to be able to make chanting more accessible to people, through this record. And I hope that during this time, this brings some light into people's lives. I think it's much needed. But I really want to encourage people to chant with this record, because there's something so beautifully healing about our own voice and our own spirit that comes through that. So, it's really about when you sit down in repetition and you get to be with yourself. It's really about opening up to yourself, opening up to the universe, and allowing, really. And it really does take you into a different state.
And another part of this mission, which I also think is so incredible, is that you have the Holy Human podcast coming out with iHeartRadio, where you are continuing to talk about these issues. However, without music. For you, from everything we've discussed, it sounds like they go so hand in hand, your music, your healing, and your mental health journey. Was there any sort of hesitation about standing up and just speaking and not having music as sort of like a comfort blanket?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was much hesitation. I think it is such a piece of my journey and so many humans' journeys at this moment to reclaim that voice. And, I have been so comforted by music for so long and so comfortable in the area. And there are so many nerves when it comes to the podcast situation. And this whole first season really is about introducing a lot of people to, some of my teachers, some of the wise people who have helped me along the way. So I'm really kind of digging into all the things human, all the things holy. We talk a lot about spirituality too on the show. So it's revealing itself to me at the moment. It's called the Holy Human for a reason. I don't want things to be edited out of that podcast. I don't want pieces. I don't want to feel like I have to perform all the time. This is the human piece of me where it's going to be messy and I'm learning. It's really me just showing up in all of my humanity.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this episode of I Have a Question. Talking to people is like literally one of the best parts of my job, and I'm so glad I get to share it with you. And also thanks for sticking around to hear me babble at the end of every video. If you want to see more, be sure to click over here and also like and subscribe down below. Do it.